Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is part three of my wind down research for 2023. It's the 16th of August. I'm in 20 redrafts right now. Finished up my best ball. I'll be at 50 here in 2 weeks, so I've got 30 more to jump into here. So I'm going to try to rock and roll here. So my time is getting short. And of course, the semester is starting as well, and I got to crank up the professor side of my life and get those kids a-rolling here. Teaching virology, teaching cell biology, so that'll keep them busy. Anyway, this may go a little long, but this is the depth, this is the nuts, this is the end of this journey here. I've found some interesting differences and things to look at, but now we're getting down not to the player, but definitely to the position, and I think, and then the team, obviously, that has that position. So I think it's going to give you some more things to think about and maybe tweak your draft list here as well. So I think this is well worth your time. Thanks to the faithful few that are hanging out, listening to me. It's been fun this preseason. Still on the podcast, and once the weekly stuff happens, I'll be rocking and rolling on the weekly side of things. Okay. Let me check my drink here. Nope, I think I better pop another one here. Okay. I think I did that. Okay. Let's roll. This is 2013. Here, let me. Can I move this? I don't know if I can. Yeah, just a tad. Let me move it. Okay. 2013 to 22. This is team running backs, and I sorted by last year. Doesn't mean that has, super preference, but I believe that that's the latest data we have on this percentage of targets per game gone to the running backs here, and not surprisingly, look at some of these teams that definitely use pass catching RBs. Green Bay, number one. Rodgers loves that. So I don't know why he's going to change with the Jets. And look, who's number two? The Jets. Now, is that not an amazing situation data-wise? Again, you won't hear this. I don't even know if people know. But anyway, there it is, folks. You heard it here first. Washington, if Gibson can be the pass catcher and Robinson, those guys are going to do more than you think. Denver, Javonte Williams, in PPR. Tampa Bay, I hope that we'll figure out who the pass catching is. Cincinnati with Mixon and whoever took P. Ride's place. Is it Spear? I don't know. Indianapolis, I have no clue about Taylor. I hope he comes back because they love to pepper the running backs here. New England, loving New England here with Zeke Elliott and Ramondre Stevenson. I think they're going to be just catching left and right here. They're going to be PPR goodness. It's just not sure which one does it in the week. Tony Pollard, I love some Pollard, and there it is, 28%. So those are the highs. The flip side is the lows: Chicago, Pittsburgh, CMC in San Francisco. Are you kidding me? That tells me Frisco is leaving points on the board, folks. I know he's going number one, but that doesn't help, his case to be number one again. That is just sad, in my opinion. Seattle, I'm hoping that they can get it together, Walker and others. Chubb should be fine. The Rams, I don't know who. Is it Akers? Yeah. Kansas City, I know McKinnon came on late, but boy, they like to use their tight end. Atlanta, Bijan, I hope he can rush. Minnesota lost Dalvin. I'd say Dalvin was smart to leave. They just were not giving Dalvin the opportunity to catch out of the backfield. I do worry about Philadelphia here with their running back here. Is it Swift? I'm not pleased. Hopefully that is positive, that he'll do better in Baltimore. Folks, Baltimore's been a running back train wreck, and I just have not touched any of those guys. May cost me on that, but look at the years past, right? 21. Look at the red. You see that? That means they hadn't done much since 2018. So that just doesn't sit well. In fact, if you look at 2018 forward in these down teams, a lot of them do multiple years of sadness there. There's a few blips, but overall, it's been very sad so isn't that interesting? And look at 2018 forward with the top teams, a lot of green there, a lot of green in recent years. So you probably get an idea, hey, is there some predictiveness here? So it seems to me, first, I don't know what people are not knowing about this. Folks, why am I having to figure this out? I mean, it's ridiculous. I guess, well, it must not be important if everybody's not. Whatever. Okay. Just keep doing the same thing everybody else is doing. But anyway, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Just overall. And that's the reason I like the across the years top-down work. Okay. So, a way to look at this kind of data, and I'm looking at 2022 usage, Green Bay down to Baltimore, the highs and the lows, is if you figure out the average, which in this case is 24%, and if you subtract that from last year's average, you get a scaled to the average metric. So how much was Green Bay over the average team? 9%. Okay. That's not bad. In fact, you start seeing some tiers here. So look at the Jets, Washington, Denver, right here. Look at Tampa Bay, and then bam, a fall off here. And look at some of the sadness here. Okay. Philadelphia. Okay. Minnesota. Look at Baltimore. Wow. Minus 13% below average. It is hard to go up with that here. But this shows you and puts it into perspective. And I like visually to see that. So this is something you can use in a draft, especially if it's a slow draft, which that's all I try to live by. You have a little bit of time to go do some research on two close choices. So if I'm trying to pick Gibson or Robinson versus, Pacheco or somebody from Kansas City, I'm probably going with the Washington folks. I really like 8% plus. I don't like Kansas City's minus 6%. Just don't like it. Okay, so this is good stuff. This will be on my article. I'll have the static images here. Okay, tight ends, same thing. Here are the highs and the lows. And look at Baltimore. So you see what they do. They don't give it to their running backs. It's all about Mark Andrews. And last year he was injured, and 36 is still, last year was pretty good. So even in a down year, it was good. So Andrews should be number 2, folks. I do like Noah Fant. Seattle, look at it, folks. Atlanta, I know Pitts was down, but when there was passing, the trouble is this doesn't catch pass volume. This just catches distribution. So you do need to keep that in mind. Of course, there's Kelsey right there. The Joko, I do like Freiermuth this year a lot, so I'm hoping that he's a great late round play here. Tennessee, I do like Chiggy. I do like Gesicki. I know he got hurt. Like whoever's at Detroit. So these are the ones that are good. You can see there's a lot of green here. The downside are up here. San Francisco. So, Kittle, look at this. What happened last year? I know he had some injuries. Boy, it is hard to want to invest in him with that. They don't use CMC. Kittle was hurt. It was all about the wide receivers. Tampa Bay, I'm not using their running back. Logan Thomas, didn't do so good. Buffalo, I know they got Kincaid, but they just never, look at the last 4 years for Buffalo, just don't use their tight end. Miami, Gesicki, look at that, was in the wrong place. Look at Miami, Gesicki leaving Miami, going to New England. Look at that difference, 12% difference. You would predict that's going to be goodness. Cincinnati, sad. Goddard worries me, folks, at 23. I know, but remember, Hurts took over and was doing a lot of rushing. So I don't know. I'm trying to wait on Gertz probably longer than he's going to be there. Okay? Because of that number. Chargers, Jacksonville, Ingram, I like him, but man, that look at the sadness from 2017 on. Sadness. Carolina, sadness. Green Bay, sadness. So I find it a hard draft on some of those players from those teams right there. If you look overall, what does this look like? Again, doing a scaled to the average. Look at Baltimore. 22, folks. That is crazy. If you throw that out, it's more symmetrical here. So, again, you can take this out. But Baltimore just loves their tight end. And that's why Andrews is always in the upper conversation there. He just really, really is. So definitely worth a hard look. Wide receivers, Philadelphia, Minnesota, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Carolina, Chargers, Arizona, Chicago, and the Rams. Okay. and maybe the Rams should go right there. But anyway, there it is. And the downside, Washington, no wonder Scary Terry's not happy. Look at that. Indianapolis, worried about Pittman. Dallas, I hope Lamb can work out because Dak was not doing well last year. Seattle, they're going to feed two pros, two good ones, and the new rookie. They're going to get all three fed. There's going to be some surprises in that. Tennessee, I'm not buying the D-Hop, not buying it. Jets, okay, maybe it's going to change. Okay, we'll see. Detroit, trouble with Detroit, it's the home-away splits were so biased. And this data is showing the blending of the two. So I bet the home split's much more efficient than the away games there last year for Goff and the Sun God. Denver, can a new coach make it happen? New England's always been nicely running back, tight end. We're definitely part of the show. I don't know if that's going to change with the wide receiver. Just be aware. Baltimore, I don't know. 37, I don't know. I'm not investing in Baltimore much. So you can see to me, some of these folks, I don't want to go too deep into them. I do worry about some of these teams on the bottom here. Here's how this looks scaled here. Philadelphia and Minnesota, San Francisco and Jacksonville, all about the passing all times. I have been picking up Lawrence. I do think he can generate a lot of activity. So he might be worth a late QB. If you miss out on some of the top three there, he might be worth your time to wait. Cousins as well gets my attention late. Okay. Hurts looked good last year. He was finding his wide receivers if he wasn't rushing. So I kind of like this. I have lots of worries about a lot of those teams bottom there. Really worried about those guys. Okay. Let's move on to looking at the stats of this kind of data and see what's real and what's not. Okay, let's move on here. Right here is we're going to test the positions target by per game team usage average, looking at the last year versus this year data. In other words, based on last year, what happened this year in running backs. And I'm going to look from 2013 to 2022. I then divide the last year's group into the top 10, the mid 11, and the bottom 11 teams. Kind of like I showed you previously, right? Here are the top, the mid, and the bottom teams. So we started, and I sorted in 2013 by high to low, and then dragged and captured the top 10, the mid, and the bottom. Regardless of what it was, that was the data I got. So I gathered 3 pots. Here they are. I put them into the calculator. I hit figure it out button, basically. And the mean for the top last year, what did they do this year, was 25%. Okay. The mid was 23.8%, so about the same, and then 8%. So I asked the question, it doesn't seem so great of a difference. I asked the question, was there a difference? The ANOVA test using the F-stat says yes. there was a difference. I used the Tukey's honest significant difference. And what we found was last year's top 10 versus last year's mid were 8% higher on average. In other words, the prediction was 8% higher, and the top versus the bottom, 12% higher. The mid versus bottom, really no difference. So basically, we're looking at the top compared to the mid and the bottom. There was a difference. So, for if nothing else, it's saying the top 10 is definitely something we want to look at, and they're going to give you 8 to 12% higher per week, right? Targets, running backs, and that can get a point or two, you know. And if they catch a touchdown, then so that just says the usage is going to be right. Volume is king. That means there's a prediction that volume is going to be higher in those, and this compares how high it's going to be. And again, this is statistically significant information, folks. So for 2022, these guys are predicted to be 8% higher in volume. These guys are predicted to be 12.5% higher in volume. In a close situation you draft, would you like to know that? Yeah. Okay, I know we're not talking to the player level, but there's something here statistically is telling us that the teams are skewing their activities based on targets per game. And there it is. This is the key figure right here for the running backs. You want to be here. You definitely don't want to be here. Okay. What about tight ends? Same position, same concept. 2013 to 22. So that need a lot of sample sizes. What are the mean differences? 33, 28, 26. A little bit more difference here. Interesting. Is there a difference? Yes. The F statistic is 24, so the higher the better. So definitely stats are saying there's a bigger difference. And lo and behold, boom, baby, 20%, 26% higher volume in the tight ends. You think I don't want that information? Folks, this is amazing. I know the other was 8, 12, 20, 26%. Probably the most significant tight end position of the three here in looking at volume. So you can predict this year's volume differences. You definitely want that. So what you think about Noah Fant now with Seattle? I didn't say he was your one, but is a 2 or 3? I'm interested. Okay. People talk about Kyle Pitts. He sucked but I'm not, there's Kelsey, there's Andrews, Njoku, Freiermuth. I like Freiermuth. Okay. Chiggy, Gesicki. I'm liking some of these. Word about these, loving these guys. There you go, folks. You're saying, well, I hadn't seen this on Twitter. Must not be real. Folks, this is real. Okay? ANOVA testing, Tukey's HSD analysis, pairwise comparisons. It's as real as I can make the data. Okay? Finally, wide receivers. Okay? What are we seeing? Is there a difference? 49%, 46, 44. Nah, there's a little bit of interesting difference here. 5%, 10%, no difference. So again, the top group versus the bottom, 10% more in targets. Gets my attention. I know 5%, but it's statistically significant, folks. even at 5%. Okay, so here we go. Philadelphia, and at 5%, I can see you don't get too jazzed, but I'll get jazzed at 10%. Come on now. So there's some wide receivers here. Really concerns me. Doesn't mean it's the wide receiver one on any of these teams, but how deep do you want to fish? Okay. And again, this is on average. There's probably a few of the bottom that are going to move up. It happens. Okay. But as a group, this is all we can do, prediction, forecasting wise, regardless of what people think, what they see in their crystal ball. Come on. This is stats. This is fun. We're having fun. Folks, this is heavy duty stuff. I think so. Boy, those tight ends. You think that's not critical in a tight end premium league? Who plays in a tight end premium league? Moi. Yeah. So, my league mates, of course, I don't let them know who I am. Got a little bit of advantage there. I'm proud. I'll collect an extra win or two because of this. Yep. Put a little extra money in my pockets. Okay, guys, this is probably the last big study. I got extra stuff I'm going to probably work on, but I'm not sure I'm going to publish it. I've got some very intriguing ideas. But hey, not many of you listen to me anyway, so you know. You're always my hardcore listeners. You guys are good to reach out. I may not be able to tell you everything, but I can help a little bit. Okay. Take care. I'll have more stuff later. Probably definitely week 1 we'll have podcasting. I'll have all it's coming. The whole enchilada, it's coming. Take care on this big data. I'll have this article up with figures. It's all so good.